Hey Steelers fans, let's talk about something that's been stirring quite a bit of controversy lately. And honestly, it's a bit of a head scratcher. Cam Heyward, one of the most respected defensive stalwarts in Pittsburgh, finds himself in a tricky spot. Now, Cam has been a rock for this team for years. A leader on and off the field, a man who's earned his stripes through hard work and dedication, and someone who's always carried the Steelers' pride with an incredible amount of class. But recently, things have taken a turn that's left many scratching their heads. And honestly, it's hard to sugarcoat how baffling it looks. It all started with a move that felt completely out of character. Either Cam himself, his agent, or maybe both went to a reporter who doesn't even cover the Steelers regularly to express some pretty bold thoughts. They suggested that Cam should be getting a restructured contract from the team. Now, you might ask, what exactly is the big deal here? Well, let's back up a little and put this into perspective. Cam signed an extension less than a year ago. A deal that would pay him $29 million over 2 years. For a player of his caliber, in his mid-30s, that contract was already considered by many, including fans and analysts here in Pittsburgh, to be somewhat of a gamble by the Steelers. After all, Cam is 36 now, which in the NFL world means you're dealing with a player who's nearing the tail end of his career. Still, the team showed faith in him, and Cam rewarded them with a phenomenal season in 2024. His performance that year was exceptional, arguably exceeding the value of that contract. So by all accounts, Cam was delivering on the field, earning every penny he was set to receive. But here's where it gets weird. The salary Cam is due to make in the upcoming season is nearly $15 million, with over $13 million of that amount already paid out in a roster bonus earlier this year. So essentially, the Steelers have already handed over most of his paycheck for this season. Given all that, it's hard to see the rationale behind pushing for a restructuring so soon after such a recent deal. What makes the whole situation even more confusing is the context. Last summer, Cam and the Steelers went through a lengthy, intense negotiation process to get that extension signed. The team took a risk with the contract, considering his age and the off-season surgery Cam had to undergo in 2024. But they still agreed on terms, signed the paperwork, and moved forward. Now, suddenly there's talk about changing all that less than a year later. And that's just not how things typically work in the NFL, or in business in general. Contracts get signed, and then other players get paid later. That's the nature of the game. After Cam locked in his deal, other defensive players have since signed contracts worth significantly more. The biggest example? TJ Watt, who is now set to make an average annual salary of $41 million over the next 3 years. That's nearly triple what Cam will make, but that's just the way the market moves. Players get paid, deals get better, and no one reopens contracts every time someone else gets a raise. Even if we put aside all the business and numbers, Cam himself predicted that he'd be one of the best defensive linemen in the league again this season, and he proved it last year. So while some might look back and say he's underpaid compared to his performance, he agreed to the contract terms willingly. There's a lot of respect due there because it means Cam knew what he was signing up for. But here's the kicker. This whole push for a new contract or restructuring, it's just dumb. Plain and simple. Cam's a smart guy, one of the brightest minds on the defense, but this move looks incredibly foolish. It's as if he or his representation missed the whole point of a situation, or just decided to rock the boat without a solid reason. And it doesn't stop there. There's talk floating around about the Steelers needing to win one for Cam and TJ this season. That phrase has popped up here and there, whispered among fans, mentioned occasionally in discussions about the team's motivation. Now imagine that motivation clashing with Cam not even showing up fully for the team's training camp. It's not a total holdout, no, but it's clear that Cam hasn't been participating fully. For the first few days of camp, he was involved in the acclimation drills. But recently, he's been on the sidelines, sometimes even seen just wearing sweats, watching from afar rather than taking part in practice. Despite still talking to teammates and encouraging them, the fact remains that he's not fully engaged on the field, and that is a huge deal. It's not a full holdout in a traditional sense, but it's close. And it feels like something hit Cam out of nowhere, like he suddenly woke up and realized that pushing for extra money might be more important to him than the team's ultimate goal, winning a playoff game. And not just any playoff game, but his first since January 2017. And if we're being honest, winning his first Super Bowl since 2000. This is a player who over the years has shown so much class and pride. He's been recognized as the Walter Payton Man of the Year for his community work. He's won the Chief Award for his cooperation with the media and has been a perennial All-Pro and Pro Bowl player. You would think those things would weigh heavily in his decision-making. Yet here we are watching all of that seem to be thrown out the window in a dramatic fashion. So what's really going on here? How does a player with that kind of reputation and history get to this point? The situation raises a lot of questions about priorities, loyalty, and the business side of the NFL. Is this about respect? Is it about feeling undervalued? Or is it simply a case of bad timing and poor judgment? And don't forget, it's not just about Cam. The Steelers front office, led by Omar Khan, has absolutely no reason to revisit a contract that was finalized less than a year ago. The deal is on the books, signed and sealed, and from a management perspective, reopening it sends the wrong message, not just to Cam, but to the entire roster and to the fans. However, there's a different situation brewing with another key. Our player, Chris Boswell, the team's kicker. Unlike Cam, Boswell is entering this season with no guaranteed money left on his contract. That's a real issue. Boswell is also the 11th highest paid kicker in the NFL, but many would argue he deserves a serious conversation about his future compensation given his standing on the team and in the league. This, unlike the Cam scenario, actually warrants a thoughtful, honest negotiation. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Boswell's situation makes sense to address now, while reopening Cam's contract is just asking for trouble. It's a classic case of priorities in team management, and it's crucial that the Steelers handle this the right way. And to top it all off, Cam hasn't even publicly addressed the situation. When asked by reporters after practice, he declined to comment. That silence only adds to the mystery and tension surrounding this whole saga. Honestly, it's hard to recall anything this confusing coming from anyone connected with the Steelers in recent years. The last time the team was involved in something this perplexing was back when Le'Veon Bell and his agent pulled some of the most infamous contract stunts in team history. This feels like we're witnessing a rerun of that kind of drama. So where does this leave us? The Steelers are gearing up for the season with plenty of challenges ahead. The offensive line has been a sore spot, but the focus here is on the defense and the leadership, or the lack thereof, that's currently on display. The locker room looks different when a guy like Cam Heyward isn't fully committed on the field. The weight of expectations, the pressure to win, and the desire to bring a championship back to Pittsburgh all hang in the balance. And while the front office coaches and players keep pushing forward, moments like this shake the foundation of the team's unity. We'll keep watching closely as training camp continues and the season approaches. But one thing is clear, this story isn't going away anytime soon. The Cam Heyward saga is one of those NFL dramas that remind us just how complicated the business of football can be, especially when pride, money, and legacy all collide in the heat of the moment. Now that we've unpacked the whole Cam Heyward contract controversy and the ripple effects it's causing within Steelers Nation, let's shift gears a bit and focus on another area that has been a consistent source of concern for the team, the offensive line. If you've been following Steelers coverage, you know this topic has been front and center for a while. The offensive line, especially the tackles, has drawn criticism, questions, and plenty of anxious fan debate. There's a sense that while the interior of the line, namely the center and guards, has shown some promise and stability, the tackles have struggled, and that's created a glaring weakness for the offense. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The Pittsburgh Steelers, a franchise renowned for its rich defensive history, may be on the verge of shaking up the NFL landscape with a blockbuster move that has sent shockwaves throughout the league. Rumors are swirling that the Steelers have finalized a deal to bring defensive powerhouse Aaron Donald to their roster. Known as one of the most dominant defensive players of his generation, Donald's potential arrival in Pittsburgh could signal the dawn of a terrifying new era for the Steelers defense. Analysts and fans alike are buzzing about how this acquisition might transform the Steelers' defensive front, turning them into an almost unstoppable force. While official confirmation has yet to come, the whispers growing louder around Hines. Field suggests that the Steelers are seriously betting on Donald's unparalleled ability to disrupt offenses and command attention on the line of scrimmage. The NFL community is watching closely, wondering how Donald's presence will elevate the team's overall defensive scheme and whether this move could propel Pittsburgh back into championship contention. The excitement is palpable, as the Steelers have always been known for their defensive grit, and adding a player of Donald's caliber might be the final piece needed to create a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. As the news spreads, speculation grows about the exact terms of the deal and how Aaron Donald's skill set will fit within the Steelers' defensive system. Donald's reputation as a relentless pass rusher and a stalwart run defender makes him a versatile threat who can excel in multiple roles. The Steelers' defensive coordinator is reportedly eager to unleash Donald in schemes that maximize his disruptive potential, which could lead to an unprecedented level of pressure on opposing offenses. Experts are hypothesizing that pairing Donald with Pittsburgh's existing defensive talents, such as TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick, could create a formidable defensive nightmare scenario. Fans are already imagining game days where opposing quarterbacks have mere seconds to release the ball before Donald and his teammates collapse the pocket. This move could redefine the Steelers' identity on defense, blending veteran experience with elite athleticism and technical prowess. Despite the excitement, some insiders caution that integrating a player of Donald's stature requires careful management of salary cap constraints and team chemistry, adding layers of complexity to this potential blockbuster signing. The Steelers' front office appears to be orchestrating a masterstroke in the NFL's offseason chess game by targeting Aaron Donald, whose defensive dominance has earned him multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards and a reputation as one of the most feared defenders in the league. The possibility of Donald joining a franchise famous for its steel curtain defense is sparking intense debate about whether this acquisition could finally tip the scales in Pittsburgh's favor during the highly competitive AFC North. Rival teams are reportedly taking note, with some already adjusting their game plans to prepare for the heightened defensive threat that Donald's presence would introduce. From a strategic standpoint, Donald's unique combination of strength, speed, and technique could allow the Steelers to implement more aggressive blitz packages and stifling run defenses, creating matchup nightmares for opponents. The rumors also raise questions about how this move might affect the Steelers' draft and free agency strategy moving forward, as securing Donald could shift priorities towards building a complementary defense. As these discussions unfold, the NFL landscape is brimming with anticipation about how this potential signing could reshape the balance of power within the league. Meanwhile, inside sources suggest that the Steelers' locker room has been buzzing with excitement and speculation regarding the potential addition of Aaron Donald. Players and coaches alike are reportedly energized by the prospect of teaming up with a player who has repeatedly demonstrated the ability to change the course of games with his dominant defensive play. Conversations among teammates hint at how Donald's relentless work ethic and competitive fire could raise the overall standards and intensity of the defense. There is talk that his leadership on and off the field might provide invaluable guidance to younger players, helping them develop and thrive in the demanding environment of professional football. The Steelers' coaching staff is said to be brainstorming innovative ways to utilize Donald's strengths while maintaining the cohesion and discipline that have historically defined the team's defensive identity. As rumors continue to swirl, the Pittsburgh fan base is already envisioning matchups where the defense dominates the opposition, fueled by Donald's impact. The sense of anticipation is building as the team and its supporters hope this potential signing could be a catalyst for a return to the Steelers' glory days. As the speculation around Aaron Donald's move to Pittsburgh intensifies, the broader NFL community is abuzz with predictions about how this could alter the upcoming season's defensive dynamics. Should the deal be finalized, it would mark a seismic shift for the Steelers, who have long been celebrated for their defense but have faced challenges in recent years in matching the league's elite units. Donald's arrival could provide the defensive cornerstone that the Steelers have sought, one capable of anchoring a unit that demands respect from every offense. Rival coaches and analysts are already dissecting film and potential strategies to counteract the anticipated defensive nightmare that could emerge in Pittsburgh. This move may also have ripple effects throughout the league's free agency market, influencing other teams' decisions as they respond to the heightened competition. With the regular season approaching, all eyes will be on the Steelers' training camp, where the integration of Aaron Donald will be under intense scrutiny. The possibility of this defensive titan donning the Steelers' black and gold uniform has sparked a new wave of excitement and hope for the franchise's fans, eager to witness the resurgence of a team capable of dominating on defense once again. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.